Hello and welcome back to episode 11 of the On the Gas pod. Joining myself is Cameron. As
Hello
always.
there.
Hello. We
Hi.
don't have Lauren this weekend,
No.
sadly, but we did get to talk a lot about the BSB, the World Superbike, and in depth about how they will balance the rules in Superbike to adjust for Toprak's domination.
Some interesting takes, some interesting accents. I checked the weather once again.
I'll go and shoot you
Honestly.
with Balamori. It's great.
Yeah, I educate Deck about how the Western Highlands and Islands of Scotland only have a co-op. And ultimately, this podcast has everything. So,
Yeah, hell
you know,
yeah. Shame it's not called the Everything Motor Racing Podcast anymore, isn't
that
it?
would be a silly name for a podcast, I must
Stupid.
say. So, sit back, enjoy, and settle in for an hour of pure auditory and visual pleasure.
Yeah, something like that. God. Anyway, roll the tape. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the On the Gas podcast episode. Is it 11, I believe, now? Up to 11 already?
Yeah.
That means it's been 11 weeks since Silverstone. What the hell?
Nah.
That's nuts.
Nah. There must be a mistake.
Yeah, something's
That
broken.
was like last week. What's going on?
What,
Jeez.
mental.
Nope.
Mental. But yes, as you can tell, we do not have Lauren this week, unfortunately. Big sad.
We just got our terrible takes between us and no one to keep us in check. So there you go.
It's all right. There's worse intakes on the internet about MotoGP, so don't worry about that.
Like what?
I don't know.
There just is. It's a fact.
Yeah, they just are.
Whatever you say, there's going to be a worse take somewhere. So
I'm sure
take solace.
There's one place you can go and find them all. But yeah, anywho. Anyway. Yes, we don't have
What's
Lauren.
been happening?
Potentially the best race weekend of my entire life, or best race of my entire life, I would say.
Yeah. So I didn't get to watch. I watched Saturday kind of live. So I assume we're talking about British Superbikes here.
Yes,
the finale. Oh man, yeah. Like I watched Saturday live because I was free, but then Sunday I was kind of busy, so I just caught up on race 3, just before we've gone live here, and like my heart is still. I'm still thinking about it. Like I'm distracted, being like, "How?"
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, like honestly, if all these people, and I've said this on the pod a bunch of times, all these people complaining about how all the electronics and aero and whatever in MotoGP are ruining the racing.
No overtakes and stuff like that.
And no overtakes. Like, look no further than British Superbikes. You got 250 horsepower. Cool. You got no active traction control. Excellent. You got production bikes, so you've not got all the mad wings and devices, etc. And the point system, for some reason, seems to guarantee that it goes down to the absolute wire. It's on a knife edge.
Yeah, because
the championship decided by 1 point this year, half a point last year, a massive 1 point this year. Oh my goodness!
They've doubled the lead. He's doubled the lead from last year.
Like if someone were to write it down, like just put that in front of you, being like, "Hey, I've got an idea for a race series here. Here's how I think it's going to play out." And they told you, and they were like, "This is what it's going to look like at the end of the year." You'd be like, "Sounds great, but it's not going to happen, mate, is it?"
Yeah, no chance.
I wish we'd be so lucky, and here we are. That is the weekend we've had.
Yeah, to have Kyle ride the way he did was absolutely sensational. And Tommy. And then not only to mention the other people in the race, like the Irwins, well, Glenn's got a lot of stick on Twitter because people are like, "Oh, you're interfering with Tommy's race," but Glenn's also there to win a race. At the end of the day, he's a motorcycle racer. And I tell you what, he said as well, he wants to be a wingman for Kyle because his brother Andrew was a wingman for Tommy, because Andy and Tommy are teammates. And Jesus, neither of them held back. Glenn, some of the moves Glenn made on Andrew were mental. And then in retaliation, some of the moves Andy made on Glenn, I was like, this is going to end up in tears. This is mental. But
a little bit of extra spice in there of being siblings. Like, oh my God, like levels to it. There's levels.
And there's like an iconic shot going around at the moment of them two on the straight where they barged fairings. And one, that's mental, but two, that's not even the only time that happened in the race. That happened a few times, and I don't even know what to say, because you start the lap with, say, Ryde in the lead. Within 3 corners, the lead's changed 3 times, and you're like, what? And the race, it was just mental. I can't even imagine it. And the fact that, realistically, they both fought their heart out, and Tommy lost the championship for a few reasons, because obviously he didn't get a point earlier in the season, whatever. But in that race, he lost the championship because he came out of the last corner and spun the rear up, which cost him traction to the line, because I guarantee you he would have been able to beat Kyle to the line. It was whoever won the race won the championship. And Tommy came out of the last corner, spun the rear up, didn't get the drive, Kyle won the race. That was how close it was.
And there's your case in point of the rider age or lack thereof, like making the difference, and it being purely about the rider and the connection with the bike, and making it be like it's up to the rider to be the one to get that bike across the line first. And that is exactly what happened. And you're right, like the line, so I can't remember what numbers the turns are, but like he had to go defensive to stop Bridewell sort of coming in halfway through. Is your camera okay?
Yeah, it's broken again. It does this a lot.
So
carry on talking, I'll fix it.
Yeah, no, I'll keep going.
Apologies, we just had a technical issue. I guess you could say my computer is a little small fucking bastard. But you never know.
Oh my. Is there any context for listeners at home?
Well, come on, it's Valentino Rossi's voice, you know that.
Yeah, but like, who's he on about? What's
Marquez, obviously. Of course.
Oh goose. Okay, right. Well, anyway, so I'll carry on rambling about the insanity of the last couple of corners.
Yes.
Of this, because like Kyle, he was trying everything, right? He was trying to pass here, there, the next thing, but in that last handful of corners, Bridewell was so strong. We've got more issues with your camera again, but I'm going to continue.
Right, I'm just going to leave my light off and not touch anything now, and we're just going to carry on.
So Bridewell was so strong in that last section that Kyle had to go so defensive that, like the line would allow Bridewell to get that launch into the home straight and take this. Your camera is cracking me up. And to get the run to the line, but that lack of traction control and just it will have been the slightest margin of being slightly too eager on the throttle that cost Bridewell the championship. And it's mental, because I'm going to keep going, sorry, that with about 5, 6, 7 laps to go, it looked like Bridewell had enough
100%
for Kyle to just he couldn't quite get him. Bridewell had better drive out the corners. He was stronger in that last sector, which ultimately made the difference, or would have made the difference to the line. In terms of the lap times, that's where it was coming from, a lot of it.
Tommy did a lap record, may I add, on the last few laps.
Yeah, but absolutely insane. You could maybe argue that Bridewell had more pace, but it was that mistake at the end that ultimately cost it. And it did. It looked like Kyle just didn't quite have enough. Like, didn't have an answer for him, but
he did eventually, didn't he? He did.
Go on, son. He made it happen.
He did. He dug deep.
So deep. I cannot imagine the determination that was required to make that happen. And as a spectator, you just got to say thanks, really, haven't you? Like, cheers, mate. Have a good winter.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you do it next year.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Here with
I need
Brad
to get
Ray
myself
back as
to.
well.
Yeah, like, I need to get myself to a BSB round because it's been years. Like, last time I was there, I don't know, it was Donington, and I was maybe a teenager, which is a long time ago now.
That is a long
So,
time.
yeah, a lot's changed. So,
Yeah. Well, I
yes.
mean, I was raving about it on Instagram, posting stories and stuff, and a few people who'd never watched a BSB race before decided to watch it, and were like, "What the hell?" Like ex-Moto Free rider Maximilian Koffler, who did Supersport as well for a little bit. He messaged me and he was like, "Oh, I'd never watched British Superbikes before, but I've decided to tune in and watch it because you're posting about it." And was like, that I need to watch more of this. This is crazy. And so many other people were like,
Yep.
that was mental. I'm so glad I watched that. I've never watched BSB before. Now I want to watch more BSB. And,
Yep.
it's the reason why they say it's the best national championship in the world. I think like the top 15 most of the time is covered by 1 second. And, you've had riders on stock bikes on the podium this year, like Lewis Rollo and what's his
Shout
name,
out.
Billy
Yeah.
McCormack as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just insanity from those guys. And I mean, Storm Stacey's won 2 races in the rain. I think you've had 9 different winners, including Rory Skinner, and then like 6 additional podium finishers. Danny
Yeah.
Kent won his first race in his 100th start. So
It,
many riders can win. You got Bradley Ray back next year with the team that won the championship this year, the OMG Yamaha team, have
yeah.
3 riders next year: Bradley Ray, Talbot,
Great.
and the champion Carl Ryde. Bradley
Why
Ray
not?
won the championship like 2 years ago next to Carl Ryde. It's going to be
And the thing
nuts.
is, as well, like this weekend wasn't an anomaly in terms of entertaining racing. There's been a few weekends, in fact, like quite a few weekends from
Alton.
the calendar this year that have been nuts. Yeah, Alton.
Yeah.
Like,
Donington Park was an absolute barnstorm of a race.
yeah. Honestly, just the best racing. So
Yeah, like
tune
I
in if you
know.
haven't watched the BSB. Just watch.
Yeah,
Just
you
watch
need
it.
to watch it. I think it's on.
Yeah.
It's on Discovery Plus. I'm not sure where in people's regions you can watch it, but I know that it's on Eurosport 2 as well, or Eurosport
Yeah.
in general. If you can't watch it legally, I'm sure you can find a stream or a.
We would never advocate such.
No, but you can
No.
find places to watch it. I'm sure you can. Not that I'm advocating it, and you should
No. Well,
always try and watch it through the official channels.
the deal is, if you do watch it through some kind of nefarious means, you have to buy a ticket to a round and actually show up to a
Like
race.
that.
That's the
Yeah.
trade-off. So,
Or because if you live abroad, you might not be able to. A lot of riders need funding for sponsorship and often do a thing where
yeah.
you can buy it. They have 100 entries and you buy one of them and you can be part of their fan club. Do that instead and give back to the sport that way if you can't watch it through an official channel. That is also an
Hey,
option.
we're diplomatic here, that's for sure.
Yeah, we are.
Yep.
Do illegal things, but make sure it's morally right by balancing it in the
Well,
moral favor.
sometimes who's to say? Who's to say if owning, if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't theft? That's what they say. But don't do piracy.
No.
Anyway, shall we move on?
Anyway, another mental race was Nicola Bulega in the Super
Oh
Pole
yeah,
race, was it?
yeah, it
Who
was super cool. Yeah,
was 1.5 seconds behind, I think, with a few laps to go, caught up to Toprak and won the race by 0.003 of a second. If you can't work that out just by that, it's 0.003, which is a brand new record. And I think the maddest part about it all is the fact that Toprak, I think, led onto the straight with Bulega behind him. Bulega overtook Toprak. Toprak then re-overtook Bulega on the straight before Bulega finally catapulted past Toprak just at the line to win the race. That's how close it was. And again, I was like, what have I just watched?
yeah. Again, finest the margins. most exciting stuff. And I wonder how, like, Toprak was probably mildly traumatized about getting beat to the line on the straight by a Ducati again.
Yeah, it's like,
But,
oh, not another one.
I know, but
Like,
I
I
mean, the
switched to
BMW is not
BMW
slow.
and now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it had been on the Yam, it would have been half a second at the line.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's been a weekend and there hasn't been MotoGP.
That's it.
It's
And the thing is, right, we've just come on it and spoke about two incredibly exciting races. And what do we do every time we come back and talk about MotoGP? We go, God, that was a boring race, wasn't it?
yeah, kinda. Yep.
Yeah.
And why? So, don't know.
Tell
There's
me
many
why.
reasons. Tell me
Yeah. Well, we
why.
know
Yeah, so the
wings.
Backstreet Boys might
They
have
might have the
answers for
answer.
us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know it's because of the winglets and the devices and all that. But yeah, it was a very good race weekend, I think. Obviously, we saw a few titles wrapped up with Jack Kennedy picking up his 5th British Superbike Supersport Championship. 5 titles. Mental. And yeah, a few others in there. Owen Jenner won nearly every single GP2 race this year. Very nearly won a Supersport race outright on a GP2 bike as well, which is nuts. Someone get him on a Supersport bike next year, please. Outstanding rider. Or a Stock 1000. You saw David Todd pick up his 2nd championship as well in the Super Stock 1000 series in BSB. We did not, in World Superbike, see Adrian Huertas take the title, but he will probably win it in the race 1 at Jerez. He's got that much of a healthy lead. I think Manzi's the only one in it now and is 46 points back with 50 on the table. And then in Superbike, Toprak could have won it this weekend and now leaves it, and both Bulega and Toprak can pick up the title next weekend. Or should we say this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, Bulega did everything right. He did everything he had to, really.
Yeah. And you know what? A vice champion, even if he doesn't win the championship, vice champion as a rookie against Toprak Razgatlioglu. I'll take that. I'll take that. Your teammate is behind you in the championship and he's a 2-time reigning world champion. And you're a rookie.
Yeah, the current champion. Yeah. You've still got the likes of Johnny Ray on the grid, and Alex Lowe's, a veteran, is having a good year, like a solid year.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I mean, I don't know. I think next year it's going to be really interesting because I feel like they're going to find some way to nerf Toprak on that BM.
Yeah, that's the problem because I was listening to Loris Baz on the Pipe Dreams podcast, which is relevant because obviously he rode the BMW last year in Superbike. He actually had a contract to race this year in Superbike for BMW, and he was the one that got left out, much like Paul at KTM. When Toprak came in, they were like, right. Baz, you got to go. Sorry, mate, can't sort you out. Baz was fine with it. Genuinely, really genuine. I know I talk about other podcasts a lot and talk about other interviews and stuff, but I feel like if it's a good podcast and good listen, then I recommend listening to it. And that episode, Loris Baz, Pipe Dreams podcast, I think it was like 3 hours long. Really good listen. I know, such a long episode, but he went into everything. He went into, how much he was paid in GP, how much he was paid in World Superbike, leather deals, things like that, and then his contract and how he kind of got each seat. The fact that he tested the Kawasaki Superbike and then they offered him 3-year deal off the back of it randomly because some rider was injured when he jumped on Andrew Pitt's Yamaha and BSB as well, and talked about endurance at 18 and the fact that he raced against Marquez and Vinales and all that when he was in the 125s, and then had to stop doing that at 13 because he was too big for the bike and hopped on an R6 at 13.
Of course.
Mental. And everyone was like, you can't do that. And he still did really well on it. But yeah, genuine 3-hour episode. And I don't even think Corey and James said a word. He just talked. And he talked a lot about Superbike this year and stuff like that. And he said about Toprak, he said, it's Toprak. It's not the bike. The bike is extremely good, he said. He said an exceptional motorbike. But Toprak is making that massive difference. And he himself said he doesn't know how they can balance the BMW against the other bikes because it's not the BMW, it's Toprak. And that's the question. He also said he wants Toprak to do MotoGP as well. But it is interesting because the question is, if Toprak is dominating like this, 17 wins, I think, this year, including really damaging himself, and he's still miles ahead in the championship. If he hadn't broken himself, he'd already be champion, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How do you manage that? How do you balance that when it's the rider and not the bike? I don't know how you can, with it not being fair.
Yeah, like I don't think you can, because there's not a sort of possible quantifiable thing like there was with Alvaro with a weight addition to the bike. There's nothing. I don't know how they can run numbers on talent or the way the bike is ridden, rather than you can run numbers on like, oh, Alvaro is approximately, I don't know, 10 kilos lighter than on average than the rest of the field. Let's kind of even that out somehow.
It's like, how do you?
Yeah, exactly. How do you do that with Toprak? They're like, I don't know, his bike's the same as his teammate, but he's a second a lap quicker. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, because you could cap the revs on it, sure, but you'd have to do that for every BMW, not just Toprak. But then because the other three BMWs aren't anywhere near,
works.
It's not fair for Van der Mark to have a rev cap because his teammate is doing exceptionally well on a bike that is mid to front of the pack, but not anything like the Ducati or the Yamaha or the Kawasaki. It's still, I would say, a fourth tier bike on the grid with the Honda behind it. But Toprak is doing what he is doing the same way Yamaha won a championship a few years ago. Why Toprak was second in the world last year, and now Yamaha are absolutely nowhere in Superbike, even with Johnny Ray, 6-time world champion on it, because Toprak makes a difference. And the bike, again, it's a great package, but Toprak makes a difference. So it's not fair to then cap the revs on it. And even Loris spoke about it again on the podcast, again, was about how you balance it, because he said back in the day when he did Superbike, they didn't really have much balancing. You could change swing arms, you could change kind of engines, you could change suspension and things like that, until they made the camshafts all standard, and you had to have this, that, and the other, which then kind of balanced the stuff it out a lot more. But then it gets to a point where you can't balance anymore because it's just not possible, because the bikes are so different in different areas that they come to a nice place where they're all kind of equal, but of course there will still be riders making that difference. And I think the weight rule is a good thing, because I do think everybody, rider and bike wheel limit, should be the same. But in the same way, to counteract my own point, it's also not fair for Alvaro to have a heavier bike that's harder to ride just because he's lighter. The same way Anna Carrasco in Moto3, everyone's like, and we said the same, like, she's at the back, stuff like that. Like, what the hell? She's not doing very well in Moto3. Why are you on a Moto3 bike? But in reality, she had 10 kilograms strapped to her bike. So of course she's not going to be able to ride it very well, because it's not the same bike as her teammate David Munoz is riding, because it's 10 kilograms heavier.
Yeah, it upsets like everything that the bike's built around.
Geometry.
It's not just,
it's tested in those conditions. Then you add 10 kilograms to it. It's not the same bike.
Yeah, it just messes with it. It's like if you stick wheel weights, even just on a car wheel, in the wrong place, like once you get up to speed, that your wheels, you're going to feel it. It makes a huge difference. It's not just a heavier wheel; it affects things. Once it's all in motion, it's I don't know how you'd describe it. It's an exponential impact. Like the faster and the more intense these things get. So it is tough, and it'd be interesting to see what would happen if they were like, all right, like there's now worthy competition of Alvaro on an unrestricted or an unweighed not weighed down Ducati. Like, let's take that weight off and see how we get on, see what we get. But
yeah, because I would like to see that, to be honest. I know Toprak's done exceptionally well this year, but and Alvaro, although he did complain about the weight at the start of the year, did sneakily drop a line that said actually it wasn't just the weight that was an issue, it was we had other problems, which is quite funny.
Well,
but you gotta throw a few things out there to kind of throw other people off as well. But sandbag, that's what I'm trying to say.
Sandbag.
And throw some red herrings out there. Like, oh, it's just the weight, it's just the weight. Because no one needs to know we're struggling with grip or whatever. But yeah, to say, I think Alvaro without the ballast on hit, I would like to see that. I think if anyone's going to fight Toprak truly, the way Bulega has, I think you need to take that weight back off Alvaro. But then it doesn't work, because then it's like, riders like Van der Mark and Redding, who are naturally taller and don't have the talent, are still then at a disadvantage because they are still heavier than Alvaro and they're not on a Ducati.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things going on, and I really feel sorry for whoever on earth has to make these rules up, because I wouldn't want to do that.
No, well, you can't please everyone. There's always going to be someone who gets disappointed. So
it's true.
It is. It's because do you renege on that? Because almost the reasoning that they will have put or given out for adding the weight to Alvaro's bike, they kind of have to go, actually, turns out it wasn't. It's not because Alvaro was lighter. It's just, I don't know, everyone sucked compared to him, it seems.
You're all bad.
Yeah, you're all just slow. And now we've actually got some proper competition for him. Like, let's get the weight back off. Like, what do? You can't, it'd be tricky to do that in a very sort of professional, diplomatic manner, I think. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, Toprak might just take every title until 2027 when he finds himself in MotoGP, and then, we'll see.
And you can't punish someone for being talented.
No, well,
like,
exactly.
You just
That's
can't. Like,
it's
sorry
just,
for why the bike's so good. He's a rev limit.
Yeah, like it's a shame that there is no. He's hit the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Other than MotoGP, but I mean, you could argue, it's a step across. It's production to prototype.
Yeah.
Whereas when you've got riders like Aldeguer, when he was in was it Chev or Chev? I can't remember which one. When he was, winning every race. There's somewhere to go from there. Same with Furusato in the Asia Talent Cup, winning every race. Like, there's a logical next step there. There isn't here for someone like Toprak. What do you do?
Well, it's like with Marquez when he was winning loads of titles, and Rossi, they didn't try and cap them or stop them from winning loads of titles. Mark absolutely wiped the floor with everyone in 2019. And then the reason he stopped winning was because he snapped his arm. The only person who capped Mark was Mark, because he tried to carry on, And so in GP, you don't really see that. So I don't know why there's such an emphasis on leveling the playing field in Superbike when
good point.
It should be the best riders on the best bikes fighting at the front. I do agree that there needs to be some sort of rules in place that make it fair for everyone, like weight limits and rev. Well, not even rev caps, because they cap revs for manufacturers for doing well. Why? It's a production championship. Make them make the best production bike physically possible with the revs.
And
if you want to rev up to 16k, do it. Don't cap it at 12.2. If it's reliable,
if you can get that to finish a race, then go for it. Like,
don't cap it at 10.2 just because you won 7 races in a row. Just because Ducati haven't done... No, just because Kawasaki haven't developed his bike as good as Ducati are now being punished for it. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that you're right. That's where you've got the unique position of prototype racing, where you can offer concessions, whereas you can't offer concessions on production racing. Where are you going, sir?
Sorry, I'm getting my bowl.
Okay. Yeah, you can't You can't offer concessions.
Wait, calm down. Got something else in your mind there, sunshine.
Oh my goodness. You can't offer concessions on production racing because that's not how it works. You're not building a bike specifically to go around tracks. You are and you aren't, but you know what I mean. It's like
you are.
You are, but ultimately they're building bikes to sell to consumers, not just for racing.
Yeah.
So, but with prototype stuff, it's literally like here's incentives to make a bike that will go as fast as Ducati, rather than, we're talking about MotoGP, rather than penalizing Ducati, you incentivize everybody else. Whereas it doesn't work that way with the production.
No,
series.
And I know that Superbikes does have some concessions, like Honda allowed a new frame last year because they had super concessions, and there are some concessions in there, but you shouldn't then be punishing the guys at the top for doing well. You should just give the guys at the back a bit of a pat on the back and a smack on the ass and go, sort it out. You got millions of quid. You're HRC. Why are you at the back? Sort it out.
Millions of quid.
Yeah.
Use some of those quid. Okay.
Use them.
No, it's true. It's true. I don't know what the answer is. People that get paid a lot more than us need to figure it out, basically.
Well, they should give us the money because clearly they don't do a very good job, and we'll sort it out. The thing as well that I found very interesting, though, is the fact in BSB, obviously, it was Honda versus Yamaha for the title. Ducati were out of it from Glenn in race 2, I think it was. No, race 1 when he crashed.
Race 1,
And then you don't really see that anywhere else. But then, again, shock horror, I was listening to a different podcast, again, off-track podcast, give you a shout out again, because he had a podcast out with Josh Brooks.
And
again, it's all relevant. It's all relevant. I don't bring it up unless it's relevant. It just happens to always be relevant. But Josh Brooks was talking about the fact that the BMW is very good in Moto America. It's very good in the Australian Championship. Very good in endurance. Very good in Superbike. Not very good in BSB. And he said it's purely down to the way the rules are allocated towards the bikes and the way that the bikes work. There are things in BSB that are banned on the BMW that are allowed in World Superbikes, that are allowed in Moto America. TCS and obviously having lower electronics obviously play a part as well. But there are things in the rules of BSB that inhibit the BMW from actually working at its max potential and then stopping the guys at FHO from winning races. Obviously, Rory Skinner won a race and then got injured. But again, I think that's a case of the rider making a difference because we know how good Rory Skinner is. Not taking away from 2-time BSB champion Josh Brooks, of course, because that would be mental. But I think Rory in himself on that task bike is very good. I think that the official BMW bike of the FHO maybe have to work in a different way because of the rules. And it is interesting that because of the rules in BSB, it's allowed Yamaha and Honda to go head-to-head for that title. But then the way the rules are set up in MotoGP and then over in World Superbikes, it's not the case. And Honda and Yamaha find themselves struggling quite a lot. In Moto America, the Yamaha is very competitive. Cam Peterson was battling for the win in the last few races. Jake Gagne got injured, but he was a 3-time champion on the bounce. I think he won 18 races in one season, like 17 of them on a bounce, something stupid like that. So again, the Yamaha is fast. The Honda's fast. But again, when you come to World Superbikes, because of the way the rules are set, suddenly this bike that's battling for the championship in BSB cannot or struggles to fight consistently for the victory without having a special rider on it. And I always find that interesting. I almost kind of would like to see BSB, Moto America, and World Superbike communicate and harmonize with each other a little bit and go, what rule for this manufacturer works so that we can get them closer to the front? We talk about balance and everything in World Superbike. What works for BMW to get them closer to the front in Superbike? Oh, it's this. Okay, can we try and translate that to BSB rules to get it to work for BMW? What this works for Honda in British Superbike and Yamaha. Okay, can we try and put this in World Superbike to let that work. I don't know how would do it, but it feels like if a bike is good in one championship, it should be good across the board, but rules stop that from happening. I guess my point is that, yeah, I feel like they should, because all FIM govern championships anyway. So it's not like an FIM make the rules. So apart from, BSB is not really, that's kind of Stuart Higgs, his little brainchild. But I'm sure FIM have some sort of involvement on the side to try and manage the whole thing. I know it's the MSVR that have a lot of involvement as well. But at the end of the day, Anthony West was banned from riding BSB because the FIM said no, whereas he rode the Brazilian Championship because the FIM have no legislation over there that allows them to do that. So, they do have some sort of say, shall we say. So, it would be nice to see something that allows all manufacturers to be balanced and work together with the championships to come to a place that works for them all. Is the end of my very long point?
No, absolutely. And I get that, but then there does need to be some element of the manufacturers trying to make the best bike they can for a racing series. It's a team effort. I mean, if we purely want it to be everyone's on the same or very, very similarly spec'd bike and similarly capable, then Moto2 is your answer.
Yeah.
So there does need to be an element of the manufacturer and the whole thing being a sum of its parts. But you're right, it is interesting that, and I thought this actually when I was watching the racing, so I was like, it's weird seeing a Yamaha and a Honda specifically fighting for a race win and fighting for a title win as well, because it's just not something that we're used to lately in World Superbikes. It seems that the Honda have made a jump, because we had Lecona on the podium, and he was fast as well. He was putting in some moves. It looked great. They've clearly made a step, but it's there's work to do, and I think that's kind of nice to see as well, where there is this ebb and flow in sort of manufacturer standing and what's the bike to be on. Because, it's all good for storylines, like we were saying a while ago, like these redemption arcs of manufacturers and stories that we all get attached to. It adds to the spectacle. So, if we can get more racing like we've had this weekend, then honestly, I don't know if much needs to change in Superbikes.
No, I think that's the thing. I don't think it needs to change much. But you have BMW and Ducati in World Superbike. Then you have, over in Moto America, BMW, Ducati, and Yamaha. And then BSB, you've got Ducati, which seems to be the outlier because it's consistent across all three, Yamaha and Honda. And so they all can fight. And maybe some manufacturers go, right, we're very good in this championship. Again, I think with Honda, BSB, Tommy made the difference.
Clearly.
Glenn was on the Honda a few years ago, was also very good. But I think Tommy made the difference there. I think that the riders obviously play a massive part, but BMW don't really have terrible riders in BSB. The same with Yamaha don't have terrible riders in World Superbike, neither do Honda. And I don't know, it's an interesting one about how maybe a manufacturer goes, we're good in this series, so we'll just focus on this one.
Yeah,
and not really develop a bike towards the rules over here. That's why they've got wings on the Yamahas and World Superbike now, for example. But yeah, it would be nice to just see if they could try and balance the rules across all championships to allow all to compete at the front, but in the same way, to go way back on that point I mentioned earlier, these rules being balanced is great, but then you're also being penalized for being exceptional, like Ducati. So again, it's a hard one to work out.
It is. Maybe we're overthinking it, mate.
Maybe,
this podcast
probably. I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Should we talk about MotoGP?
Oh yeah, that MotoGP.
Well,
yeah.
we say MotoGP is pretty boring every week. I don't think we're going to say that this weekend somehow because we're off to Phillip Island.
Yeah, we better not say it's been boring. If a week from
Phillip
now
Island.
we say it's been a boring weekend at Phillip Island, something is really wrong.
Yeah,
because Phillip Island always delivers.
Always.
And if there's been something boring at Phillip Island, then yeah, I'm complaining.
Even if you think about the last two races, last year Johan Zarco won his first ever race. What?
Yep,
And the year before that, Alex Rins won on a Suzuki from nowhere. Battling with Marquez. That was a mental race. I think Miller got taken out by Alex Marquez. Think about it as well. But just an absolute mental race. You know, Phillip Island always throws in some crazy races. I still remember, I know some people might not like it, but the 2015 race at Phillip Island was absolutely amazing. The fact that Marquez on the last lap closed a full second to Lorenzo to win. What, and you know, his double pass on Rossi as well, and I think it was Mark.
Yep.
Crazy.
When was Gavin the Seagull?
2015.
Was that 2015? Yep.
Yeah, Ripperoni.
Honestly, it's got everything. You got wildlife. You got sea views. You got changeable weather, and you got great racing.
Yeah.
It is a shame. Well, I'll say it's a shame. Like, it's just the way it is. But it's a shame that for me, a privileged Westerner, that it happens in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But you know, I can wake up and watch it with a little morning coffee. It's just
yeah. I mean, to be fair, all the Aussies and all the Asian people have to watch the races in Europe.
The Eurocentric calendar.
Some of the blooming Aussies were saying that. I don't know. I said blooming Aussies, but some of the Australian people were
Aussies,
saying,
mate.
It was bloody Australians, mate. That was terrible. I'm never going to do that again. Bloody hell, mate.
What were they saying?
I hate myself. It's like a humiliation ritual, isn't it? Bloody hell, mate. God. Anyway.
Oh, dear. Yes, what were they saying?
Yes. They were saying, good eye, mate. No, they were saying that there are plenty of times on a Monday morning, yes, a Monday morning, they have watched the MotoGP race live whilst eating their breakfast, getting ready for work.
Yeah,
and we were complaining about getting up a bit early on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
Surely, when they're in Texas and stuff, it must be like, it must be firmly into the next day for them, isn't it?
Well, no, I think even in Europe, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
that's wild.
Crazy.
Well,
time is a construct.
Tyson, who's on the podcast a little while ago, had to take days off of work to do it because it was like 4 a.m. that we were recording the podcast.
Bloody hell.
4 a.m. Yeah, bloody hell.
Well, yes. Yeah. Yes.
It just reminds me of that, what is it, the in-betweener scene? When he's trying to get a drink and he's got a, he's like, you're right, your ID's Australian. He's like, yeah, I'm bloody Australian, mate. Have you not? Yeah, I've seen the in-betweeners, haven't you?
I have. I just, again, I think I was a teenager. It's a while ago now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I think we're appealing to a very, very niche audience right here. Yeah. But hey, if you can remember the In-Betweeners Australian ID skit, then let us know in the comments, or feel free to unsubscribe if we've I don't know. Yeah. For just making you feel old.
Had a serious chat about the racing and all that, and it's just been derailed by terrible accents.
As soon as we start talking about MotoGP, it's gone.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? It's almost as if we're bored of talking about MotoGP because it's terrible. It's
not even that. Like, yes, it should be a good race weekend. I've checked the weather. Looks like it's going to be...
You checked the weather? What?
I checked the weather. Now, as far as I can see, is going to be kind of sketch to begin with on the Friday. Saturday is going to be changeable, and then Sunday will be nice. That's what I've got so far. That's probably changed in the last hour since I checked. So
yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that'll impact your predictions. But Lauren's already locked in, so
she is. She's always locked in.
Locked in.
Additionally, it has been actually confirmed in MotoGP that the engine specification for 2026 will be frozen ahead of the 2027 season, meaning that every factory must use a 2025 engine designs. They don't have to use the same engines. They can just make new ones with the same design for 2026.
All right, okay.
It just saves costs and things like that, really.
Yeah, sure.
They've said also the only exemptions for the freeze will be for safety or reliability, or any manufacturers in concession rank D. It's probably Yamaha and Honda because they suck.
They're just having a lull. They're just taking a few years off, ready for the reg changes. That's it.
Yeah. And additionally, on Sunday the 17th of November, when the covers come off for the global premiere, I don't know, I was reading the press release. They've got a new logo, MotoGP.
Does it say MotoGP?
Hopefully.
Okay.
After working with the world's largest independent design studio, Pentagram, they are ready to reveal their new identity. I wonder.
Well, there's a tax write-off if I ever heard of one.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I wonder, who was it that designed the Pepsi logo for £1 million and put like the weird smiley faces on the brand guidelines? That was weird. Have you ever read the Pepsi logo guidelines? Somebody got paid £1 million to make the logo, right? And then made a 70-page document about this logo using like all sorts of shapes. And they're like, they use, it's the old logo with like the swoop up the side, like where it kind of, the red bit swooped up and it looked like a face a little bit. And they kind of manipulated that and be like, look, if you do it like this, it looks like a smiley face. So we won't do this.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the thing. But there's people who have made this pentagram, who have made the new MotoGP logo, have made logos for Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, Eurosport. Let's have a look. Pink Floyd Records, Index Ventures, Citibank. So there's quite some big ones there. Very intrigued to see what they've done with the MotoGP one. I hope it's clean. I hope it's nice. I'm a bit of a sucker for logos as a graphic designer. So,
do you do graphic design? Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to tell, would you? Because it's all terrible, but...
Dearly. The classic
Someone actually pays me a salary to do it. It's mental.
That is mental, to be fair. That's
nuts.
Someone's got money to burn. Oh,
they really do. Tax write-off.
Yep. That's all employees are.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, should we do these predictions then? Because
go on then. Go on. Let's have a look.
Go on then, mate.
What's Lauren said? Well, have you got them on the screen already? What?
Yes.
You ever been to Tobermory?
No. What is it? Tobermory, is it?
Aye. It's an island.
It looks nice.
It's gorgeous.
But it's in Scotland, so...
Yeah. Well, yes. What's wrong with that? Am I going to have to hang up here? Excuse me. It's it's where your Balamory is. So
how do you even get there, though?
Well, the thing is, there are these things called boats.
I'm not getting a boat to go and look at Balamory. Like, that's mental behaviour.
Well, it is nice, but anyway,
you've got a co-op. What the hell?
Oh, that's all there is. All these. A bit of just a fact about.
Do they speak English there?
You what? Oh my goodness! It's not like mad Outer Hebrides.
The co-op has got an accent over the A and it says Faulty de Co-op Thorber Mori.
Well, that'll be Gaelic.
Right.
Yeah, so they do speak that.
And
well, the thing is, in the Western Highlands and the islands and stuff, it is like co-op is the lifeline. There's no big supermarkets. That's the one.
At this point, I think if you go to these islands, you go back in time about 20 years.
Yeah, it's
moving 100 years. Look at the date of some of these buildings.
Yeah, the house I live in was built in 1902, so
no.
It's a nice wee stone cottage. But I think we're getting sidetracked.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Wow, it's almost about ADHD. Crazy. Anyway.
Same.
So, pole position in Moto3, please.
Oh my goodness, are you going straight to me?
Yeah, straight in there.
Is Alonso gonna just back off, or is he
he's gonna win everything now? He's got no pressure.
He's gonna win everything, no pressure. All right, let's have Alonso then. Go on,
nice.
Let's get brave.
Lauren has gone Kelso.
Okay, cool. That'd be sick, but no.
I've gone Rulestone just to continue that home theme.
Also cool.
Yeah. Lauren has gone for Rulestone's teammate Holgado in third, and you've gone for
solid. I think I'll have Kelso third, please.
Nice. He did get a podium last year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Ortola. I'll stick with myself and go Via second. And you're going to go...
Lauren's gone Via as well, hasn't she?
She has, yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'll go Ortola second, please.
Okay. And I think we're all going to go Alonso to win, aren't we?
I think so.
Yeah. Lauren's gone Alonso. Yeah. We've all gone Alonso.
Okay.
Right. Moto2 pole, I'm going to go Canet. You're going to go...
God, I just don't know. Everyone in Moto2 has been so choppy this year. Canet's been on a good form for pole, to be fair, but let's have Lopez.
Copying Lauren there.
Oh, am I? Oh.
Yeah. He did win there a few years ago, didn't he? So...
Yeah, do you know, like Phillip Island, it might be like classic track, a bit more of a return to form. I think, but then Lauren's form.
Terrible.
Yeah. Have you written it down? Am I locked in?
Yes, you are.
All right. Okay, then.
Sorry.
Fine.
Locked in. What on earth is that?
You all right?
No, something's weird. Oh, okay. It's done. I've just highlighted all our points. It's told me the sum of 2,075. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, change. Yeah, weird. Anyway, Lauren's gone Arbolino third. I'm going to go Aldeguer third.
Oh.
And you're going to go...
I think I'll go Lopez third, because if he gets pole, he'll drop off.
True.
Or he'll do something silly and get a long lap penalty. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow Lauren's blueprint of Canet second, because he loves it.
Hard to argue with. But because everything's upside down in Australia, I'm going to say I'm not having Canet for second.
Either go Messia instead, because it's upside down.
Yes, Sasaki. No.
Said it now.
No. Second, I'll have Arbolino second. Please. Yeah.
I've got an idea or a point I want to mention in a minute, because I've thought about this earlier, but I'll say it in a bit.
Yep.
Lauren's gone Agura first, potentially to win the championship. Because he can win it. You're going to go...
He's not great with pressure, is Agura.
No.
I think he'll be too aware of the fact that he can put it away this weekend, so he won't.
And he'll crash like he did in Sepang.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I think I might go Canet for the win.
Nice. Okay.
Let's do it.
Send it. I've gone Dixon to win.
Lovely.
I know.
Yeah. Well, now that he's mathematically out of it, watch him win everything.
Literally. I've gone pole in MotoGP as Marquez. I know.
Oh, it's possible, especially if it's sketchy conditions on the Saturday.
Yeah, because he loves it. Sliding through Stoner Corner.
He bloody does, doesn't he?
Loving it.
Yeah.
Lauren's gone Martin pole, which isn't a bad shout considering he's getting pretty close now to that all-time record of pole positions. He's climbing up that board. I think he's got like 49 poles now in all classes, Martin.
Wow.
Which is insane.
It is. It is. It's hard to argue with Mark.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, all right. I'll go Mark, please.
Nice. Lauren's got Martin. I've stuck with Mark for the sprint race. Lauren's stuck with Martin for the sprint race.
Again, sketchy conditions. If it is, there's really only one man to look at, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm going to copy you. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Jack Miller. He'd be second on the list, or him or Brad. Yeah. I'm going to copy you and go Mark for the sprint as well, please.
Okay. Right. I'll stick with you for third place, please.
I really want to see something different. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I have Brad, please?
Nice. Okay. I've gone Martin third, and Lauren's gone Bagnaia.
Yeah.
Now, Lauren's gone Martin second. I've gone with a Costa because I do think that this bike and this track will suit him very well.
I think you're right. I almost wish I'd said him for the sprint now.
Yeah.
But if it is sketchy conditions, then nah. What are we going for a second here?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the universe tell me. Yeah. Let the universe tell me what's happening. Don't know. I love Mark's second.
Okay.
In the main race.
Interesting. I've gone, and so has Lauren, for Mark to win.
Ooh.
Who have you gone?
To win?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm between the kind of two obvious contenders in my mind.
Yeah. Because you've got neither of them on the podium so far.
I know, and one of them's got to be there, surely.
Yeah. Martin cooked it last year on his tyres. He won't make that mistake again.
He did, and he won't. He's learned this year to just copy Pecco. Definitely, since Misano.
Well, I was going to say since Misano.
Yeah, since Misano. All right, let's have Martin for the win.
Nice. Okay. Interesting. Do you want to hear this point I've got?
Go on then. Give me your point.
So, that sounds weird. So, my thought is, when a rider has wrapped up their title, for example, David Alonso Moto3, unless we're going for records, there is no point them continuing a Moto3. You can't compete in two classes in one season. My idea or thought was to, if you've won the title in Moto3 and you've already signed for next year in a Moto2 team, and same in Moto2 with MotoGP, as long as there's funding, of course, you should be allowed to race, if you want to, that is, you don't have to race both categories in one weekend. David Alonso, for example, great example, because he's racing for the same team next year anyway with the Aspar squad. So why not either say, right, no more Moto3 for you, straight into Moto2 now, get as much seat time as you can. Then by the time we've come back next year to these tracks, you've already got data, you've already ridden a Moto2 bike, you kind of know how it goes now. And then, or the option is you can do Moto3 and do Moto2 if you want, but you are going to be knackered. So it's up to you. I randomly thought that obviously it would only be eligible. The only people that would be eligible is riders who have already wrapped up their title in their class. So, for example, a Guru couldn't ride for Trackhouse until he won his title in Moto2. And then they put him on, say, Ralph Fernandez's old 2023 bike for the last two races of the season because, well, seat time MotoGP and learn how to ride a MotoGP bike a bit earlier might be an issue because of lack of testing and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what free practice is for, I guess. But just a random idea. don't really see it happening, but just a thought, really.
Are they able to even like test or set foot on the bike before the season ends? Right.
Well, in this scenario, yeah. Like in real life, I'm sure they're allowed to do a private test. Like Johan Mir tested the Suzuki before he even rode it in MotoGP. Zarco tested the Suzuki as well, so they can, yeah.
Right, they can. Yeah, I mean, if everyone's willing and consents, then why not? Like it does.
Yeah.
If I were a rider, I'd be itching to get on the bigger bike and, like you say, just get as many hours in as possible before riding it in anger, basically.
Yeah. That's it. And it's like an ease into it instead of just like it's not, because you're on a full Grand Prix weekend and you're doing it, but zero pressure, full stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like you wouldn't. I assume like points wouldn't count, or would they class as an official entry?
Yeah, they can be classed as official entry and get points. If they won the race, then they deserve to win the race, kind of thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Like if Alonso hops on that Moto2 and wins on his debut, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a random thought, really.
Interesting musing. We can but dream.
We can. But I think that's
sleepy
enough.
Boy.
I know, I'm so tired. I think that'll do, laddie. That'll do. Shrek. For anyone didn't get the reference. Is that what he says?
No, it's donkey. That'll do, donkey.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Yeah, you've got the accent as well. Do it again.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, Mike Myers isn't Scottish, so...
True.
It's like, that'll do, donkey. That'll do. Right then. No, anyway, so thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening to this amazing podcast with amazing accents and amazing impressions.
This has been an education for many people, I'm sure.
Yes, it has. And this is why people listen, I guess. But yeah.
All three of you.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. And we're back next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram on The Gas Pod. Follow us on Spotify. We're nearly at 1,000. So get on that. And
bell icons.
If any sponsors want to sponsor us, I don't know why you would, but get on with it.
Oh my goodness! Well, there's a great pitch, isn't there?
Yeah.
If anybody would like, if any brands would like exposure on a high quality podcast, then
don't come to us.
Up. Oh my god!
You said high quality podcast, no?
I did. Is this not high quality? Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. And goodbye.